What's up guys, Mitch from the DIYRecordingStudio.com, and this week we're taking a look at the Behringer 369. We're going to do a deep dive into how it sounds on drum bus, master bus, maybe some other buses as well. And because it does dual mono, we're also going to look at it on some individual mono tracks like kick, snare, bass. We'll try it on a few things. So it's going to be an awesome video. Let's get on the tools. So I've got my Behringer 369 queued up, ready to go, and we're going to do a bit of a deep dive on a session that I just finished recording, and we just did a bit of a rough mix. It's from Krankwalk, and you guys might have seen them already on this channel. Great local band from here in Newcastle. And you get the point, guys. It's some real cool rock and roll stuff going on there. And we'll start by giving it a listen on drum bus. You can see we're getting like 3 to 4 dB of compression there. And I've got both the limiter and compressor engaged because I like the way that sounds on drums. And let's just have a listen to what it does to the drums in solo and then in the mix. Awesome. And in drum bus duties, I feel like it really lifts the room mics up. It brings up the cymbals without them sounding harsh. Like we do get, because of the limiter, all the quieter things coming up in the mix more, but not in a harsh way. It's really cool. And then it adds this weight to the kick drum and does this thing to the snare that I really, really like, where it brings it up, but it doesn't get pokey like an SSL bus compressor sometimes can. SSLs tend to push things up the middle and more in your face. This lets things still sit back, but brings them up in the mix in a very, very cool way. And I should mention, I'm not level matching on this video because, look, it's one of those things where I'm not using compressors to level match. I'm going to show you how I'll put them on a mix and how they'll sound and how they'll bring things up in the mix and stuff. And yeah, it might be a bit of volume as well. But we've got to remember too, like I'm using a compressor and a limiter here. So it's going to make things louder even if I level match them because it'll be increasing the overall loudness. So yeah, I'm not going to stuff around with that. I just want to show you kind of the things I'm hearing with this compressor when it's in action. Anyway, let's keep moving. Let's maybe try it on something like, let's put it on the mix bus. Very cool. So there, I'm hearing a bit of width added. It can happen with the compressors like the API 2500. It definitely adds width to stuff, and this seems to happen with this compressor a little bit as well. Pushes those guitars a little bit further out. The limiter is also bringing up some grit on those guitars, but not in a way that I necessarily like, but I would mix into that, I guess, if I was using it this way. But it does sound cool, and I know heaps of people that love this compressor as their bus compressor, but for me, I feel like at the moment it's done a better job on drum bus duties, but if I only had one bus compressor, I could definitely use this on my master bus, like no problems. It sounds good. I just prefer to use my SSL bus compressor for that duty. It does a thing that I like, and I really, really like what this does more on the drum bus, I think. But yeah, it just grits up the guitars a bit too much for me. Like, it does sound cool though. Like, it really adds something to the mix and some energy in a really cool way. And once again, like, not adding harshness or anything that you would expect from a cheaper, more affordable unit. So very, very cool. Oh, and I should mention, I keep this actually in dual mono when I'm using it on buses, and that's because I like what dual mono does. I could put this in stereo mode for bus duties. Some people like that. But for me personally, I like to keep things always in dual mono when I'm putting them on a bus. Well, I shouldn't say always, but often. So it will be set to mono, if you notice that and you're wondering why I'm not using it in stereo on a bus. That's just because I prefer things to grab independently. If something happens, especially on drums, on the left side, you don't want that pulling down the right side necessarily. Anyway, just an option. Let's try them on kick bus and snare bus. Let's try it on kick. That's hitting a bit hard. I'm just going to adjust that. I find that on kick drum, we lose a bit of the low end thump, which we weren't losing when we had it on the drum bus with all the room mics. But when it's directly on a kick, I feel like we're losing a bit of thump there. Anyway, let's see what it sounds like in the mix.
Time's up, we gotta go. At the door to hit the road. 100-foot journey to the other side. A palace of gold, enough to make a grown man.
It gets a bit clickier. It adds a bit more front end of the beater and stuff to the mix and pulls that up in the mix a bit. But yeah, we lose a bit more thump, and I don't particularly love that. So that's an interesting one. Let's see how it sounds on snare. Now, I like that. It's adding a bit of knock. Let's listen in the mix.
100-foot journey to the other side. A palace of gold, enough to make a grown man cry. Oh, yeah. Don't know how we didn't die. Oh, yeah. Made it to the other side.
Now, I don't mind that. That's pretty cool. It definitely makes it a bit thuddier. It definitely controls with the limiter, the snare very well, and keeps it more consistent. It's definitely adding some low mid thump and really just being complementary to the snare on solo snare duties. I really like that. I don't think that's a bad snare compressor at all. Let's quickly try it on bass and see how that sounds.
Don't know how we didn't die. We made it to the other side.
That's pretty cool. It definitely brings up some of the low and low mid stuff. I don't know if I love how it does that. It gets a bit mushy to me, a bit woofy, but it's bringing up some cool grit and attitude. And, I could see myself potentially using this on bass if I wanted to. It's cool. Like, it's a very cool sounding vibe that it's bringing up all that attack. It brings up a bit more of the attack and the clickiness in the bass, as well as helps those fills stand out even more in the mix. It wouldn't be my go-to, I don't think, but it does sound good. Like, it doesn't sound bad. It's just a taste thing. Let's try it on vocals and see what it does on vocal lead.
100-foot journey to the other side. A palace of gold, enough to make a grown man cry. 100-foot journey to the other side. A palace of gold, enough to make a grown man cry. Time's up, we gotta go. At the door to hit the road. 100-foot journey to the other side. A palace of gold, enough to make a grown man cry. Time's up, we gotta go. At the door to hit the road. 100-foot journey to the other side. A palace of gold, enough to make a grown man cry.
It does a great job of leveling out a vocal in spots. I've got it set to really slow kind of settings. Just kept it where I had it because it kind of sounds good there, doing leveling and limiting kind of duties. It definitely brings up that grit you're hearing is the way I tracked it. We tracked through this microphone, the T67, into a Neve 1073 preamp, into my Lin 76 clone, into an LA2A 500 series clone, the IGS 1LA. And so there's a lot of grit already in this take, and that compressor, that 369 Behringer, is really bringing up some of that grit. It's doing a good job. Like, it's quite transparent. It's not obvious and grabby or anything like that. What we could do is maybe do one more test. Let's try it on some quicker settings. Attack and release settings. Let's do that.
Time's up, we gotta go. At the door to hit the road. 100-foot journey to the other side. A palace of gold, enough to make a grown man cry. Time's up, we gotta go. At the door to hit the road. 100-foot journey to the other side. A palace of gold, enough to make a grown man cry. Time's up, we gotta go. At the door to hit the road. 100-foot journey to the other side. A palace of gold, enough to make a grown man cry. Time's up, we gotta go. At the door to hit the road. 100-foot journey to the other side. A palace of gold, enough to make a grown man cry.
Now that's cool. So on faster settings, it actually is like really like taming those vocals in a cool way. And like they're already pretty compressed on the way in, but it's still doing stuff. And I actually really like what it does to the high frequencies. It brings out some of those highs like I kind of get from like a SSL bus compressor or something like that. It's surprisingly good on a vocal. That's pretty cool. I don't mind that at all. On a quicker setting, it seemed to get a bit more transparent. And yeah, like it's not ever grabby. I was hitting maybe 6 to 8 dB of compression there, and it sounded good. Like, it's just good. It does a good job of leveling a vocal. I couldn't complain with that at all, even at faster settings. Like, there's a tonality shift, I think, when you have it on fast versus slow. It is more versatile than I thought. If you only had one compressor, this could be your compressor, and you could have two of them for $800. That is crazy. Like, that is actually quite crazy. Like, $800 for two great sounding compressor channels. Like, you kind of can't knock that. And you could track through it. You could do a lot of stuff. Now, would it be my go to tracking compressor? Maybe not. I'll have to try it more on tracking duties, not just mixing duties. What I can tell you is I used it on some of the tracking in this session. I did actually use it on the close room and the far room microphones, and I'll show you that. I'll solo those up real quick. We have this far room mic in my dining room. Turn the EQ off. And that microphone was going into that compressor and just a clean preamp. And that was the T67 on that room mic. And then I had a ribbon mic in my close room and going through the other channel of the 369 as well. And I'll mute them. I used the close mic to add some punch of the shells and the kick drum. It was about 1.5 meters away from the drum kit. And then the room mic is the reverb. The reverb on the drums is mostly that room mic that we had out in the dining room. And then there's a slight bit of snare reverb added in this mix as well. But it's mostly actually that dining room mic adding this kind of cool width and stuff. Like, it's really cool how much that just a mono room mic can actually add depth and stuff to a drum sound. And what was helping pull up that roominess was the compressor, the 369. And once again, like, nothing gets harsh with it. So such a versatile compressor. But let me know what you guys think. Do you like what you're hearing of this 369? Do you think it's good for the price? Do you think it's a good sounding compressor no matter what? Like, I think it's like a great piece of hardware. Like, for that price, for $800, how could you fault it? If you're in the EU or the States or the UK, it's even cheaper for you guys. It's crazy. So for me in Australia, an $800 compressor that does all this stuff pretty well and is quite surprisingly versatile, for me, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, I would absolutely suggest people at least try it. It's really, really cool. It's still my favorite on drum bus duties. I could see how it'd be cool on snare. I loved it in tracking on those room mics. Just on that alone, like, that's super useful just for those jobs. And yeah, really, really cool. Let me know in the comment sections down below what you guys think. If you have any questions about the Behringer 369 or any of the gear that I mention on this channel, you can DM me on Instagram at the DIY Recording Studio or email me at Mitch at the DIY Recording Studio. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I'm Mitch from the DIY Recording Studio.com. I'll catch you soon.